10 mistakes young people make and regret later in life. As we live life, we are called to make decisions that could potentially change our lives for the better or for the worst. As human beings, we will make more mistakes than right choices. However, no matter how much pain they may cause and no matter how much regret they later brings us, every misstep we make will help us learn and become better individuals. You shouldn't live in a constant fear of not trying to make mistakes, as they are bound to happen no matter how much you try to avoid them. However, you should always do your best to move cautiously in order to reduce the impact they may cause. You may be in your 20s or 30s and feeling like you will remain young forever. You will always have the time and energy to do whatever you want with very little to no repercussions. Your parents or siblings will bail you out if you happen to find yourself in a tough situation. Remember, just like your teens, your 20s or 30s is just like any other life stage. It too shall pass. Live it without regrets, but learn from the mistakes of others and apply those lessons to your life in order to become a better version of yourself. It's ridiculous to hear the older generation whine about how stupid kids these days are, as if they never made any mistakes and didn't learn anything from theirs. Sure, young adults will make dumb choices, but if not all, most of them will teach them valuable lessons. The youth not being allowed to make mistakes will hurt them in the long run because they wouldn't be building the skills necessary to deal with change and become resilient. That said, there are some poor choices that have lasting effects. There are some that have little to no effect. Today, we will be presenting to you 10 choices or mistakes most young people make and regret later in life. Number 1. Talking too much and not listening enough. By paying attention to the speaker and not interrupting him or her, you are creating a bond with the person. Listening more and with curiosity not only helps you better connect and understand what is being said, but also provides valuable input on how you may frame your response and navigate the conversation. Instead of always trying to prove their points to others, most young people should learn to listen more instead of always talking. Furthermore, they should learn to draw lessons from the mistakes of others and implement them in order to avoid falling in the same traps. Moreover, young adults should read more or listen to more books in order to acquire the info and knowledge that was left to them by their predecessors. Number 2. Believing you can't leave. For some odd reasons, most people tend to make decisions that typically put them in situations whom they don't think they can't get themselves out of. YOLO, everyone's favorite motto, usually fuels irrational decisions, catastrophic mistakes, and irreparable acts. People tend to get caught up in satisfying their urges and needs instantly, that they don't realize the amount of harm they are causing themselves and to those around them. This includes being in toxic relationships, being in a toxic work environment, consistently being under the influence of drugs and alcohol, being attached to bad habits, and etc. While you're still young, you need to explore, learn, and grow. The best way to do that is by making small mistakes and quickly learning from them. The problem is, most people tend to get themselves into bad situations and to make them their new realities. Number 3, they accumulate too much bad debt. One of the worst financial decisions one can make in his or her early years is to get themselves into large amount of debts. In the US alone, student loan debt has soared from $260 billion in 2004 to $1.4 trillion in 2017. Despite nearly having free access to all the information in the world via the internet, people still feel the need to take out high interest loans, not in order to acquire knowledge, but to get a degree. Furthermore, most people with unstable jobs take out loans over 20 or 30 years just so they can afford to buy their first property. God damn! Imagine being in your 20s and starting life with so much debt that you don't even know where nor how to start repaying it. What most people don't realize is that all debt you take must be repaid in full and with interest. Filing for bankruptcy may alleviate some of them, but the vast majority will still need to be repaid. Number 4, they equate happiness with money. For some strange reasons, most people seem to think that the more money you get, the happier you'll become. That is completely false. The truth is, money will only solve some of your issues, like material problems and stuff like that. But the rest of them can only be solved by working on and taking care of your mental, physical, spiritual, and social issues. The last thing you want to believe is that becoming filthy rich is the end of it all. Be all. Spending your days and nights trying to accumulate money to later realize that your youth was wasted foolishly instead of being enjoyed to the fullest. They give up quickly. Most young people haven't developed resilience yet. Most of the times, they have built the bad habit of quitting easily. Most wealthy people didn't become successful overnight. They went through some sort of building process before they transformed into who they are today. Most young people fail to see this picture, and consequently, by all means, they want to boycott the process and make instant riches and wealth, causing them to dabble into a lot of bad things that could potentially destroy their lives and render them useless. It's so easy to quit when something seems too hard, but pushing through the hard times is what makes a better and well-rounded person. Number 6, they don't spend their time wisely. Most young people tend to waste their time either doing nothing at all or on things that bring them no value because they are careless and don't usually value time. Several companies tend to build products that stimulate your dopamine for a long time in order to ensure that you remain an avid consumer and continuously engage in everything they need your resources for. If not careful, you won't ever realize that your valuable time is quickly flying away. Of course, you should distract yourself from time to time. However, it shouldn't become your way of living. You should instead switch your focus to some other things which will add value to your existence. Furthermore, you should learn more about the skills in demand and how to implement them. Moreover, you may want to consider reading books, attending seminars, or enrolling in programs that strike your interests. Number 7, they let the world define them instead of defining themselves. Is it just us, or do most teenagers nowadays seem to suffer from a chronic identity crisis? Despite being intelligent, knowledgeable, and functional, most people don't seem to know much about themselves. People appear to be drifting throughout life without ever taking the time to assess themselves, learning about themselves, analyzing their strengths and weaknesses, acknowledging their wants and needs, fixing their appearances, striving for their goals, working on getting rid of bad habits, and etc. If you're feeling confused about these things, the time has come for you to step back and to do some soul searching. Number 8. They don't manage their money well. Young people tend to make dumb decisions with money, as they haven't had any experience with it and therefore don't know how to manage it. Most of the money they have wasn't earned by them, but was instead handed to them by their parents or friends. They typically don't know what it's like to put blood, sweat, and tears into working or creating a job in order to earn a living. Furthermore, they lack financial education, which is key to ensuring that one's resources get allocated well over time and in order to promote financial freedom throughout the generations. Moreover, they don't practice delayed gratification and are slaves to instant gratification. Number 9. They don't network enough. Most young people tend to be self-absorbed as they think the world revolves around them and everyone else's input is unimportant. Although at times it's normal to be like that, the problem arises whenever you get stuck in that mindset. Having a well-established network goes a long way and has quickly become an important aspect of our lives. The fastest way to expand your network is to build on the relationships with people you know, family, friends, classmates, colleagues, and acquaintances. Networking allows you access to opportunities you might not be able to find on your own. Your network has the potential to provide you with insight into different fields, information on what potential employers look for, and advice on how you can improve professionally and personally. Number 10. They prefer instant gratification instead of delayed gratification. Young people not only have a short attention span, they also want instant gratification. Thanks to the pressure put on them by society and their peers, they are forced to quickly establish a successful career as soon as possible, make a boatload of money quickly, find the perfect partner at the earliest opportunity, and most importantly, to enjoy themselves right now and here. They crave for everything in the now, which typically leads them to take unnecessary shortcuts, putting themselves in near-death experiences and potentially create an unhappy future. Young people shouldn't mess their youth by solely focusing on instant gratification. They should practice the art of delayed gratification and build systems and services that will later allow them to live a comfortable life at retirement. In conclusion, as we live life, we are called to make decisions that could potentially change our lives for the better or for the worst. As human beings, we will make more mistakes than right choices. However, no matter how much pain they may cause and no matter how much regret they later brings us, every misstep we make will help us learn and become better individuals. You shouldn't live in constant fear of not trying to make mistakes, as they are bound to happen no matter how much you try to avoid them. However, you should always do your best to move cautiously in order to reduce the impact they may cause. The end. Thank you.